Where are you right now?
I am in my in-laws' basement in Fort St. John, BC. Just got here. Fly to Calgary at 6 a.m.
Wow. Early day.
Yeah. I'd booked an 11 a.m. flight, and WestJet was kind enough to just send me an email saying, we have updated your flight schedule. And I thought it'd be like from 11 to 11:03, and it's like 11 to 6 a.m. I'm like, what? Who does that?
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
changed by 5 hours.
So what inspired the straight to a convenience store as you cross over the border to get your favorite Canadian snacks that you hadn't had?
Well, we were in the Calgary airport, and there's a 7-Eleven right below the Marriott hotel that's, in the airport. So we checked into the hotel and we ate in the restaurant in the hotel, which was really good. And my kids, we've been talking for a year and 7 months about Canadian snacks, and usually they get it once in the summer and once at Christmas. And of course they missed Christmas, they missed last summer. So for dessert, we're like, man, who cares about this fancy dessert at this cool restaurant? Let's go down to 7-Eleven and get some ketchup chips. And I forget what we got, coffee crisp and, stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
I couldn't decide between an Eat More bar and O. Henry or Smarties. So I went with an O. Henry.
I saw a caramel bar in there. Is that Canadian? I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was my oldest son picked the caramel, and me and my youngest son both picked O. Henry, and my wife picked coffee crisp. And then
So
ketchup chips was just the salty and sweet combo,
Is that your go-to if you're going to get one Canadian snack? You're going with the O. Henry?
Man, you know what? It's crazy. There's this ice cream place, actually a frozen custard place in Franklin, Tennessee, and it's maybe 15 minutes from our house. And I was in there, and they're like artisan and hipster and trying to be super fancy. And they're like, the other day I saw they had O. Henry ice cream. And I said, "Oh, Henry," and they're like, "Yeah, it's a European brand. The owner traveled to London and discovered it." And I'm like, "Well, actually, we've got it in Canada." So, ever since, so I tried the ice cream, and I was like, "Man, that's really good." And now, when I was back at home, I was like, "I need to have that bar. I haven't had that in a while." Normally, it's Smarties though. For my birthday, which is coming up, July 21st, I always ask, if we're in Canada, I ask my boys to buy me Smarties ice cream for my birthday.
Oh, so good. But when you're in the States, then, like, all the candies that you're naming are like the only candies I've ever gotten while trick-or-treating. Like, what what do you get in America?
You get Kit Kat, Snickers.
Okay.
I don't know. I try not to eat that stuff. There's that Kit Kat, Snickers, M&Ms.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I was just gonna say, like, I've got a body built by snacks. I've seen you. I'm like, I don't think you eat O. Henry's. I don't even see you eating ice cream. So there's no way that these things go together.
You know what's really amazing is my mom, who growing up we had all the most unhealthy food in the world, but she's really bought into the whole healthy lifestyle. She found sugar-free marshmallows, and we always have sugar-free chocolate chips, Lily's brand. So she'll now make Rice Krispie treats. She'll show up at baseball games for my boys, and she'll have sugar-free chocolate Rice Krispie squares after, which is pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
I know, Greg, you're looking like
I'd be furious if I was on that team.
Hate it.
I do. If I was on that
awesome.
team and somebody brought me a marshmallow square and I ate it and it was sugar-free, I'd be like, come on.
No, because it wouldn't taste sugar-free. It's like artificially. Because you know what though? You guys have Trader Joe's, and they have all the best stuff at Trader Joe's, and I see it all over the internet. And every influencer and health account that I follow is like, you need to get this everything with the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's, and I'm like, great. Well, I guess I'm just never gonna have it. So jealous.
Well, we go to a place called Aldi, which is a German grocery store that's in the US. I don't know if they're in Canada yet, but and so and you can get everything on Amazon. And Amazon opened a shop, like a big warehouse in Nashville now, so you can order something and it's like at your house an hour later. It's kind of freaky. It's like Jimmy John's, where you order it and the guy's already at your back door giving you the sub before you even put the credit card. Freaky fast.
So is this going to be your first show tomorrow night at the Stampede? Is this going to be your first show without Curtis?
It won't be my first. No, it'd be, It'll be my 6th, I want to say, but it'll be the first one in Canada.
Well, and what's it been like? Because I mean, you guys attached at the hip your entire lives as brothers, but
Yeah.
I mean, road warriors together, writing songs all over the world together. Does it feel like you've lost your right arm when you're out there, or what is it like?
Well, have you ever seen Burt Wonderstone, where the 2 magicians get in a fight and then the one magician leaves and he keeps saying and he puts his arm out and there's nobody there? I hope I don't say like my brother and I too many times, myself and I, but no, it'll be fine. I think I'm honestly in these situations, like right now, if Curtis was here, he'd be saying something funny, right? Always lightening the mood. I think in the interviews is where I'm going to end up noticing Curtis his absence the most. But you put out a press release and everybody reads it and it sounds all sweet and good, but you think, is that really what happened? Or is there some juicy, gossip or bad? But it's really exactly what happened. His wife's family moved back to Canada. They have a golden opportunity to be in one town with both grandparents for their 3 kids, in the same town. And it's beautiful. They really want to do that. And move back to Lacrete where we're from. And I'm very happy for him. My family is very happy for him. My parents are thrilled, and I'm just the one boy that refuses to move back home and keep traveling around doing this High Valley thing. So I'm pumped about it. We're happy. He's happy. His family's happy. So it works out good for everybody.
How did the original conversation happen? Because I know it happened sort of, he was sort of saying like during COVID, he sort of realized that this might be an opportunity. How does he come to you? Is it a text saying, I'm out? Does he come over and drop down a bottle, a bag of Smarties and say, listen, I think you're going to need these, or like what?
No, you know what happened? And I'm not like a fortune teller or anything like that, but his wife's family were missionaries in South America ever since Curtis, joined the band in Nashville, like in a more full-time role. And so we got an email from her family saying, we've decided to move back to Lacrete. And I told my wife, I said, any day now we're getting a call from Curtis. And sure enough, it was 2 days later that we get the call from Curtis and Miranda, and they say, hey, we'd love to have you guys over for dinner. And so it's not that weird that they would have us over for dinner, but we kind of knew that, this was it just felt a little fancier when he invited us over. So when he started kind of sweating bullets and trying to tell us the news, I already knew, he was very sweet about it. He was very, excited, but nervous and all that stuff. But we actually 99.9% knew what he was about to tell us.
Because there was Smarties on the table at the end of dinner.
Yeah.
I just need.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but it's going to be so cool for you because High Valley is still represented by you, and you're still out there doing big shows. And how much does it mean to you not only to be able to come to the Calgary Stampede, but you're basically taking for an Olympic reference as it comes up, you're taking the baton from Terri Clark, who's just finishing her 5 shows in the evening shows. And you're taking that and running with it. How cool is that?
Yeah, well, we really appreciate her because she can work out all the kinks in the show and figure out, she can be the one doing the 7-hour sound checks and figuring all that stuff out. And I'll just come and grab her mic, but it should be a little easier for us. But no, I mean, growing up, I remember my cousin lived with us for 1 year, and that was when like the Terri Clark record was massive. And I remember him taking me to school in his black Trans Am, cranking out Girls Lie Too and Poor Pitiful Me and all that stuff. So it's pretty awesome. When my booking agent called me and said, all right, they're going to do a split headline thing for the grandstand. There's going to be 5 nights of Terri Clark and 5 nights of you guys. I was like, man, that's the real deal right there. It's pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
And we've talked to so many people saying we've released so much music since the pandemic. There's so many songs we haven't been able to do that are actually major hits on radio or our fans are loving streaming. And is there one in particular you can't wait to showcase for the first time live back here in Canada?
Yeah, it's Grew Up on That is probably what we're like pumped to be able to play and say, like, just kind of see what the response is like, because we haven't been able to play that. We haven't been able to play Single Man, River's Still Running, Grew Up on That. So yeah, I guess there's 3 of them that we've never really been able to play.
Can I tell you, I was so excited because you, me, and Curtis had a chat with the EP release from the new songs with Single Man and Girl. And I was asking you guys about favorites you had on the album. And you asked me, and I said, River Still Running has to be a single. And you both kind of smirked at each other and said, yeah, we've heard that from our fans too. And then a couple of months later, it got released. And I was like, I called it. I knew it.
Yeah.
I was pumped.
Yeah, you kind of named that one, man, ahead of time. So we were, when we did that interview with you, we had just pretty much decided that was going to happen. And we knew, Curtis and I knew that was going to be our last single, because you got to know that Curtis and I knew about this announcement a year ago already. So even when we were doing that interview with you, we already knew as soon as the border was open, he was going to be up there. So we were kind of working on that. And we thought that was the right message also, as our last single together. River Still Running was kind of the right, if you're going to, for him, I mean, that's really his attitude. He's like the most positive guy in the world. So it felt kind of appropriate.
That actually makes my heart melt, knowing that it's sort of a behind the scenes look at the message in this song. Things still go on and it's still a happy day no matter what's going on. That actually really even makes it a more special song than it was already. So I'm guessing now you have new stuff recorded that's just you then with the band. Do you know when we'll get to hear that?
Yeah, honestly, I've been putting some sneak peeks up on TikTok every once in a while. I've been recording, because the other 5 guys in the band are still all there. So they've been playing on the record. There's a new guy in the band named Sam Bergeson. He's actually producing the record and singing on it and writing it. And little known fact about Sam is he's 21 years old, which makes me feel like I'm about 100. And his mom is Alison Krauss. So when I go over to his house to work on songs, he's like, hey, my mom's going to, because I didn't know who his mom was at first. I just knew Sam was a very talented producer, and I'd been writing with him and talking to him on the phone a lot. And I hadn't even met him in person. And this is about a year and a half ago. And then my publisher, I write for Warner Chappell. And they're like, you're going to be going over to Sam's mom's house for this co-write. And I said, okay, cool. Like, who cares? I didn't, I wasn't even sure why they were telling me that. And they're like, you know who his mom is, right? I'm like, no. They're like, well, he lives with his mom. That's why you're going there. And his mom's Alison Krauss. I'm like, oh, shoot. I proposed to my wife with When You Say Nothing at All. Like, this is kind of a big deal. And now, he kind of, he called me the other day. He's like, hey, for the South Dakota show, I'm not going to need a flight because my mom's taking the tour bus up there. She really wants to watch the show. And I'm like, oh, shoot, Sam, no pressure at all. But supposedly she's a High Valley fan now. I guess the easiest way to make her a fan is to put her son in the band. But
did you tell her
it's been pretty awesome.
Proposed with her song?
What's that?
Did you tell her you proposed with her song?
I didn't tell her because the first time I ever talked to her about music, and the second and the third and the fourth, was her talking about songs that Sam and I had wrote and which ones she liked the most. And it's like, man, I really love that song. I love your voice. And I'm thinking this should be me saying this to her, but it's her saying it to me. And I didn't want to be that guy that gets a compliment and automatically gives the exact same one back. So I'm like waiting for the right time. But right now, I just call her the crock pot queen of Tennessee, because every time I'm there, the house smells amazing and every meal is always in a crock pot. And I'm just like, pinch me. I'm like, whatever. I go to my buddy's house and his mom makes us cool sandwiches and rice and chicken and soup. And it's Alison Krauss. So I'm just living the dream.
That is the coolest thing ever. And that's also really cool that like Sam is so young and like probably not just starting his career, but like getting into it. And he was so talented on his own that he didn't even need to tell you who his mom was. And you were just working with this kid being like, you're young, but you're amazing. And then on top of all that, after he'd already proven himself to you, you found out who his mom was. Like, I think that's the coolest story ever. Yeah,
he definitely doesn't need anybody to give him like a leg up or anything. He's just a very talented producer. And he's had a bunch of hits in the EDM world with like Zed or people, I don't know who. I'm not cool enough to know the names of these people, but anyway, he's really cool and young, and so once again, it's for me always finding those producers that can take my really bluegrassy roots and make them more modern. So I think you guys will really dig the music. It won't shock you. It won't be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. But at the same time, it's an evolution. How we've always done it all these years is I would write the songs and record the songs with my co-writers, and then the brothers or brother would come in and swap out my harmony with their harmony. So in some ways it won't really be that different. It kind of starts the same.
Well, why don't we do this? Like, we got a new morning show here on Country 105. When you're ready to debut some new music, will you hop on with us and we'll debut the new single together?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're trying to figure out what the first one's going to be. And I will absolutely hop on here and debut with you guys. That'd be awesome.
Awesome.
I love it. Can we hear a favorite Stampede memory, either from you as a kid being down at Stampede? I don't know if you would come that far. That's a long trip, but, or something where you just will never forget that Stampede moment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's easy for me. We've been going to the Stampede for, I want to say 15 years, maybe 20, but definitely 15. And the first quite a few times was me and my other brother, Brian, you know, before Curtis was in the band for maybe the first 10 years or so. But in somewhat recent history, we're playing a Stampede breakfast. That used to be how we get into Stampede, playing these like church parking lots or Lions Club or whatever. You know, somebody's giving away free pancakes and there's a band in the corner playing songs you've never heard, you know. And there we are. I think at this point we'd had a couple, you know, maybe like one or two hits on the radio, and we're playing this parking lot somewhere, and we get back to the hotel and somebody says, "Hey, Curtis, is there a chance you left your mandolin?" He's like, "Oh yeah." And they're like, "Okay," because they just called and they found a mandolin laying on the parking lot where all the vehicles are driving, and they said it. And so yeah, he, you know, never leave the show without your primary instrument. But if you do want to leave a $6,000 mandolin, just leave it on a parking lot in the middle of Calgary and see what happens. So Canadians are very nice people, and nobody stole the mandolin.
That's awesome.
They returned it to our hotel.
Is there a band or an artist you got to see play during Stampede that you remember looking up at and being like, I can't wait to do that, or that's really inspirational?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my buddy, Mark Martel, he's the voice of Freddie Mercury in the movie that, you know, The Queen. When you see the guy's lips moving, it's actually my buddy Mark is the guy singing. And so they got him to do like a Freddie Mercury impersonation basically at the Grandstand show about 10 years ago. And I went out there and watched the exact same stage that we'll be playing on. And I saw Mark up there and the whole fireworks deal. And I thought, that is insane. That is unbelievable. So it's really, really cool that we get to play it. The other one was we opened up for Shania at the Saddle Dome back-to-back nights. And that was insane. I mean, she's Shania Twain. It was pretty unbelievable. And
did you get a moment with her, or like even side stage, a moment where you're like, that's the coolest thing?
Yeah, I did. And then years later, I got to meet her again in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena during a Preds game. The Preds were playing the Penguins, and we thought the Preds were going to win the cup. And she was there, and I love that I got to talk to her again. But Wayne Gretzky walked by right while I was hanging out with her. And I've read Wayne Gretzky's Bible-sized autobiography 3 times front to back. And there's nobody I would fangirl over in the world like Wayne Gretzky. And I wanted to be like, cool, Shania, see you later. But I had literally just said hi to her. And when I finally snuck out to get my first chance ever to meet Wayne Gretzky, his body, they had just dropped the puck to start the third period, and his bodyguard guy's like, no, you can't talk to him right now, not when the game's playing. So I would say I was about probably 4 inches away from Wayne Gretzky, and I never even got to say hi to him. So I will always love Shania Twain, but kind of missed a golden opportunity there.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Brad,
sad.
we're going to get you out of here on this. It's called Stampede This or That. Just go which one that your heart goes with, okay?
Sure.
Rodeo or Chuck's?
Rodeo.
Mini donuts or corn dogs?
Mini donuts.
Again, not with that. There's no way. There's not a chance that's
I
happening.
love mini donuts.
Rides or games?
Would you say rides or games? Games, because I'm a wuss and I get crazy headaches if I go on rides. It's like it ruins my entire week. Yeah.
Your whole week?
Cowboy boots or cowboy hat?
Definitely boots.
You got too nice a hair to wear the hat. Line dancing or two-stepping?
Horrible at both. Line dancing. I'm going with line dancing.
Wait, I need
Josie?
to interject only because you've brought up the body thing though 18 times. Gregg really likes your physique, it sounds like.
Yeah, thank you. I tried to wear a really loose
Gregg's a
sweater
big
for this
fan.
interview.
Would you rather wear a flannel or a tank top to Stampede?
At the Stampede, definitely flannel at the Stampede. In real life, definitely a tank top.
Okay.
Yeah. But not
In my
in front
mind,
of
it's
everybody at
usually
the Stampede.
shirtless.
Yeah, Gregg's picturing you in the tank top no matter where you are. So it's
Good to know. So good to know.
Brad, last one. Yeehaw or Yahoo?
I was told, we just checked into the hotel and they said, don't ever say yeehaw, you'll look like a tourist. So I'm going to try my best to not screw that up and go with my first ever email address and remember yahoo.com. So that should be good.
That's awesome.
I love it, man. Thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Welcome back to Canada, and we will see you tomorrow. Safe flight.
Thank you guys so much. Can't wait.
See you, man.
Bye.